to a story we've been following for almost 2 years out of Binghamton. A jury in Broome County has found Hamil Waddell guilty on charges of disorderly conduct and resisting arrest. He was arrested following a fight outside a downtown bar. Waddell's case sparked outrage across the community as videos from that early New Year's Day arrest made their way onto social media. The video shows Binghamton officer Brad Kaczynski kneeling on Waddell's neck. Broome County District Attorney Paul Battisti claimed Waddell was told to leave the area several times before the arrest and tried to pull away from officers while in handcuffs. Waddell's lawyer is questioning the actions of the prosecution.
There were two other white guys, and the disposition of those cases is insultingly offensive because the district attorney agreed to what's commonly called an ACD, an adjournment contemplation of dismissal. But the black guy gets prosecuted. Someone has to ask the prosecutor why he made that prosecutorial decision.
In response to that line of questioning, Broome County District Attorney Paul Battisti explained his reasoning.
So every case in my office is based upon the facts and circumstances of that case, as well as many other factors. The cases, I believe, and I wasn't there, that Mr. Kopko is referring to were violation level offenses. This case was a misdemeanor, so completely different levels of charges.
Kopko says that he is going to take the case to a federal judge and sue Officer Kaczynski in a civil case for excessive use of force. He also says they will file a post-trial motion and then appeal, as Kaczynski did not testify. The judge stated that the officer was unable to testify. The sentencing for Waddell is December 23rd at 9 a.m. in Broome County.